What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Today we will be doing Administrator on HackTheBox. This is a Windows machine and it is medium difficulty. Also another Active Directory machine. I think last video I had done also Active Directory, not too sure. But this one was fun, so let's dive right in. So before we start, there are some machines that provide us with credentials that we can use for an initial foothold. As we can see here at the bottom, it says machine information, and as is common in real-life Windows pen tests, you will start the administrator box with credentials for the following account. Username Olivia with a password. I don't know how to pronounce that. But yeah, so there are some machines where we are given a set of credentials that we can use. And of course, we have to figure out which service these credentials go to and how we can actually gain access to this machine with these credentials. So to begin, starting off with an Nmap scan, we got numerous amount of ports open. Of course, we just go through each one and figure out, which one has a vulnerability in it, anything that kind of sticks out, any kind of sensitive information that is out there that we can use to basically get root, right? So since we have credentials, we kind of want to focus on the services that require authentication to see where these credentials work at. So the first one, we can just try RPC, right? Port 135, remote procedure call. All right, so let's try remote procedure call. Run the command RPC client, attack you, and we put in Olivia, and then we put in the IP address. Press enter. It's gonna ask us for the password, hopefully. There we go. Copy, paste, and we are in. So here we can see that the credentials pretty much worked for RPC. So there's numerous commands that we can run for RPC to enumerate, and one of them being enum dom users. All right, so basically this command just basically enumerates all the domain users inside of RPC, and here we have some more usernames, right? And this is really important because this means that these are other names within the machine that we could use potentially to break in. So we have Olivia, Michael, Benjamin, Emily, Ethan, Alexander, and Emma with the default accounts, also with the Kerberos account, guest, and administrator, right? So we have usernames, but we don't have their passwords. So a very common thing to do in Active Directory is to use a very popular tool called Bloodhound. Very, very popular. Whenever you are running into a Active Directory machine, you're more than likely 90% of the time going to use the tool Bloodhound, and it's basically useful because it just enumerates the Active Directory and it gives you a really clear-cut diagram of everything within the domain, right? It'll tell you all the users, it'll map everything out. Let me just show you without explaining it. So to start up Bloodhound, first you want to start up this other tool called neo4j. Command sudo neo4j console. Once that's finished loading, we can see here it says remote interface available. Just kind of copy and paste the localhost address, copy, and then open it on the browser. Let it load. And once Neo4j is open, then of course you want to start a Bloodhound. Alright, so Bloodhound, attack sandbox, start that up. Should be prompted with some credentials. Okay, cool. So this is basically what it looks like, right? And also another step before I move on, just to show you, I already did it, but basically Bloodhound is going to need information, right? So it's going to need data. It's going to require you to enter in data, obviously, right? Because its job is responsible for sorting data for you, making it look nice, and it requires you to basically import that data into Bloodhound. So normally what you would do is you would run the command sudo Bloodhound Python tag D. You would put in the name of the domain, administrator.hackthebox in my case, tag U, the credentials that I was given, tag P, the password. Sorry, let me just fix that. Tag P, the password, and then the name server, which would be the IP address, and then you do taxi all, and you press enter. And basically what it does, what this command does, is it basically gives you a bunch of different files which are contained with data of the Active Directory machine, right? So all the users, the groups, the domain controller, the machines, like everything basically gets put inside of these files right here. All these files you see right here, 2025, like this is all data from the Active Directory, from this command that you have ran. Forget about these domain computers, like this is something else. But everything right here, the ones that start with the numbers, right? You can see here it says domains, containers, computers, groups, OUs, users, like this is all information collected from the Active Directory due to you running this command right here. Right. And once that information is collected, you basically go into Bloodhound, you click this icon right here, upload data, and the file explorer should show up, right? And then you would just basically select these files right here, press open, and these files will then get loaded into this Bloodhound tool, right? I've already done it. The information is already in here, so I can basically just do what I need to do, right? So you can basically go up to the search bar right here and search for a node. And for me, I'm just gonna search in Olivia, which is the username that we know of. And we own this user, right? We have full control of Olivia, and we're just gonna right click it and go to shortest path to here, right? See, what's connected to Olivia. And for here, we see a bunch of different stuff. Administrators at administrator.hackthebox, enterprise key, all this stuff right here is basically connected to Olivia. The more you use this, the easier it'll get, right? To know what you're looking for and basically like what you're looking at, right? So the main thing, right? We see other users here. We see Michael, we see Emily, we see Ethan, we see a bunch of people, right? A bunch of information. And basically, right, the most important thing you want to do when you're running Bloodhound is you want to use the search bar up here and basically look at every single user on the box that you know, right? So if we look back, we got more names here from RPC, right? So I'm gonna go through these on Bloodhound. I'm gonna type in Michael, I'm gonna type in Benjamin, and I'm gonna see, all right, what do they have control of? Like, what are their privileges? Who are they responsible for? What groups are they a part of? This is basically what Bloodhound allows you to do. So first things first, the first person I'm going to look for is Michael. Let's go back, type in Michael, press enter, and let's click on shortest paths to here. Let's see what he's connected to. This is Michael right here. And as we can see, Olivia has generic all right towards Michael. And basically what this means is that Olivia has the right to basically change Michael's password, which is of course extremely dangerous, right? If we get a hold of Olivia, we can just pivot over to Michael's account, change his password, change it to something that we know, something simple, and take over his account. So let's do that. So another thing I forgot to mention is also that Olivia is a part of the privileges of remote management, right? Basically means that we can remote enter her account using evil1rm, right? So let's do that. Evil1rm, tac u, Olivia, tac p, the password, which is right here, given to us. Copy, paste. Tac I 10.10.11.42 and press enter. Okay, we are in. So again, we have generic all rights towards Mike, right? So if we want to change his password, this is the command that we would perform. We would do net user Michael. That's the user that we want to change the password of, right? And then let's just make up a simple password. New password 123 exclamation mark, right? And then we do /domain. And then press enter. Boom. The command completed successful. So now we should try to attempt to sign in to Michael with this new password. So let's do that. Let's also try to remote into Michael with the new password. So let's do it with evil1rm, tac u, Michael, tac v, new password 123, tac I 10.10.11.42. And we are in. We have successfully broken into Michael's account. Great. So now that we're on Michael's account, let's go back to Bloodhound and let's see what privileges another user has, right? So let's go back to RPC, and another user is Benjamin, right? So let's see what Benjamin has in store for us. And here we are. Benjamin is right here. Again, we see Olivia has generic all rights to Michael, as we saw before, but now we also see Michael has a privilege towards Benjamin, which is force change password. And force change password is basically pretty similar to generic all, right? Force change password is we can basically change Benjamin's password. But this one is a little different because we can't necessarily do it through EvilWinRM, right? We have to do it differently. We have to do it through RPC. So every privilege does something different, and it's executed through a different service, right? Go to RPC, here we are. And since we know that force change password is operating through RPC, we have to sign into Michael's account through RPC. So let's do that. Let's exit RPC client. Thank you, Olivia, but let's change it to Michael now. Let's type in the password that we had set his account to. We are in, right? So through RPC, now we're going to change Benjamin's password. And to do that, we run the command set user info Benjamin 23, and let's just do the same thing. Password 123 exclamation. Press enter. Done. Right. So let's test this now. Exit and let's see. Let's type Benjamin. New password 123. Didn't work. Let's try one more time just to be sure. Didn't work. So sometimes that's gonna happen. You're gonna change someone's password. Specifically, it's going to change the password of a specific service. So it changes password, just not for RPC. So if we can go back to the Nmap scan, so many tabs. I'm sorry. Cat Nmap. Right. We also see that FTP was actually open. So let's try that. Maybe we can sign in to Benjamin's account through FTP. Right. FTP 10.10.11.42. Benjamin password 123, and we are in. So let's just see what's inside, and we see we have a backup.psafe3, right? So we can just get that file, and we can look at it, right? It's a backup.psafe file, and psafe basically is used for something specific. It's used for a specific password manager, which is called password safe. And you would basically use this application to see what's inside of this file. But as well, it requires a master password that we need in order to see what's inside this file. So we need to do a little bit of brute forcing. And we will use the command John to figure out the password. Right? So we will run the command pwsafe to John and the file and output that into hash.text. We'll just write 2, we already have it, right? And then we can just do cat hash, and we see this is the hash. And now it's time for us to crack the hash. So let's crack it. We run the command John hash with a word list, user share word list rocky.text, and let's try it. So as we can see, the password has been cracked. Te quiero mucho. And we basically just enter this inside of the application, right? Password safe. We set the file here and paste it. Okay. Not found. Let's try it again. Now, for some reason, still not really sure why, but the contents of the file don't show up. I was doing this with a friend, and he was able to show me what the contents were. He was doing the same exact thing I was doing, but for some reason, it just doesn't work. But basically, in this file, retrieve credentials of Emily, right, which is another user within the machine. And you use that password to access her account, right? So I'm just going to go into her account, tag you, Emily, tag P, tag I, 10.10.11.42, press enter. Now we have gained access over Emily's account. So let's see if there's another user that we can check on Bloodhound to see if they have any vulnerable privileges that we can take advantage of. So we have Emily and we have Ethan. So let's check out Ethan. Let's see what he's about. Type in Ethan, and Ethan, we see that Emily has generic write privileges on Ethan. So this is another vulnerable privilege. This basically forces us to try to Kerberos Ethan's account. Let's do that. And we would just use this command right here. And I already have targeted Kerberos downloaded on my machine. Targeted Kerberos, and let's run that command. Change the parameters. Administrator.HackTheBox. Emily with her password. Oops. Run that and see what happens. And we ran into an error. Forgot the IP address. IP. And here we get an error, and here it says clock skew too great. And this is a very common error because with Kerberos specifically, because basically what it's saying is that our timestamp is not in sync with the timestamp of the domain controller. And this is basically a security measure that domains use, right, to prevent what are called relay attacks. So we need to find a way around this. And the way we can find a way around this is to basically use a command to sync our times with the domain controller. So we can basically use the command sudo ntp date 10.10.11.42 and basically run these two commands at the same time to try and sync the times together and hopefully get the hash. Okay, so I basically had to run that command a few times, which is something that is pretty common because it takes like at least 3 or 4 attempts to basically sync the times correctly. And here, as we can see, we have retrieved Ethan's hash, right? It is a Kerberos Ticogranic service and it's a big hash, right? So I'm basically just going to copy the hash, put it in a file, krb.tgs.txt, paste it. And of course, first we have to look up the correct format. So I'm just going to copy this, go to hash cat format, and the format is 13100. So let's crack it. Hash cat tag m 13100 krb text and provided a word list. User share word lists rock.txt and press enter. And here is the password for Ethan, BizKit. So now we have the credentials of Ethan. So again, let's go back to Bloodhound one more time and let's see what Ethan has control over. So this doesn't show it, but I think let's just go back to Olivia. And here's Ethan. So Ethan actually has DC sync to administrate out of HackTheBox. So this is pretty straightforward, right? We're going to basically use a command called secrets dump, which basically dumps all the hashes within the domain. And this is the command. So it'll be administrator.hackthebox/Ethan password at the IP address. And we just press enter. And boom, as we can see, it has dumped all the hashes within the domain, including the administrator. So from here on, we have basically rooted the machine. Just run the command exec administrator IP address and put in the hash of the administrator. And we now have complete control of the entire system. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Can't wait to see you for next video.